And we are, man, sorry, Streamlabs is being weird. And we are live here on Plus One EXP's Roll for Content channel. My name is Tony Vicinda. I'm Chief Alchemist here at Plus One EXP. And if once we hit 20 viewers live on this stream, everybody's going to unbutton one more button. I'm really excited to have y'all back for episode 6 of our ongoing actual play of the Between. This one casually titled Whoops All Night Phase. And so we are going to be playing through. If you joined us last week, you know we did not get the night phase because we got a little bit buck wild. With all that said, I'm going to hand things over to Jason to kind of cue this up and talk about what's going to happen during this session.
Yeah, so let's just do like a quick recap, I think. We have some things that are kind of hanging over from last time. So the biggest one is probably that Rick Miller, the American, is going to be retiring this phase. This is the last we are going to see of Rick Miller in this form, though Hargrave House will be seeing plenty of Rick Miller in another form in a future session. But for now, so that's something we're going to have to deal with in this night phase, is to give Rick Miller a send-off. But we have a lot of other stuff going on too. Theodora and Langfisk are racing to the Limehouse Lurker's nest to in Langfisk's case deal with the Limehouse Lurker. In Theodora's case, we believe to take the Limehouse Lurker under her sapphire blue wing. And Dr. Spectum is going to continue the investigation of the Society Obscura and the Whately camera. And Lord Grey, I think, intended to once again attempt to go to Brathwaite Hall, but I think you're going to be delayed yet again, Lord Grey. So this is what's going on in this night phase. It's an opportunity to resolve another threat, the Limehouse Lurker, hopefully, unless Theodora beats you to the punch, Langfisk. And we're going to give our very good Rick Miller a good send-off. So yeah, I'm really excited to dive on in. This is going to be a slightly shorter session than we have been doing, because this is going to be just the night phase, though it is going to be a longer night phase than we've been doing. And so if there's nothing else, we are back with our crew. We are doing our thing. We are going to be starting with Moonlit Mudlarking, our unseen. I'll remind you all, not that you all need to be reminded, players, but I'll remind viewers that the unseen is something that's taking place in another part of the city. So while all this action is going down with Hargrave House, other things are going on in the City of London. The City of London doesn't stop being a living, breathing place. And so that is, that's what we get to see with the unseen. And as players, the players have a goal of telling a good story in the unseen, first and foremost, but also creating thematic or visual connections between the unseen and the Hargrave House scenes. And our unseen for tonight is going to be Moonlit Mudlarking. I need to let dusk start settling into my lighting here at the house, so we'll eventually be at nighttime. The Port of London is one of the busiest in the world, and with so much cargo being loaded and unloaded, the odd crate ends up overboard. The ebb and flow of the Thames deposits this lost cargo up and down the riverbank under the light of the full moon. Under the light of the full moon, the desperate or optimistic pick through the sucking mud of low tide, stinking of shit and rotting fish, in the hope of finding treasure. I want to kick off with everyone. Please tell me what debris from industry, trade, or home life is found washed up on the mud banks of the Thames. What does it tell us about the city?
There are submerged and rusted pieces of old steam engines, early prototype steam engines, um, just showcasing how, as more and more the city grows, as time goes on, industry is moving so quickly that these things that were once considered marvels are just being dumped wherever and being washed into the Thames and just being lodged in the mud and the muck.
Okay, I thought Tony was gonna go. I didn't want to interrupt anyone. But I think that there are scores of shattered pieces of dishware from every era, from hundreds of years ago to now. And they're all beautifully decorated and discarded because everything can be discarded.
Awesome. B, are you able to turn yourself up just a touch?
Yes, I am.
Awesome. We see a a crate full of vibrant colors of paint that have started leaching and mixing in with the water, that are being fought over by a group of young children who have run out and are splashing each other with these colors.
Being splashed among the paint is a string of pearls, a pearl necklace, uh, wafting in and out, which is proof that the rich don't care about their things. They can always be replaced, and items have value according to who views them.
Rick Miller, as we kick off this night phase, how do you feel? How is the moon being so bright in the sky making you feel? How can you tell? This is the big one.
He was feeling fine, possibly wistful about home life after dinner, and looking at the moon in the sky, its wholeness makes him think about his entire life, everything that's happened to this point, uh, and why it feels a lot sadder than usual, as if it's the end of his human life. He's gripping the railing and just trying to cling on for as long as he can, but he knows that it's coming, and this is ultimately it.
Lord Grey, how have you dressed for your third attempt or second attempt, whatever attempt it is, your next attempt to try to go to Brathwaite Hall?
I've lost track of the attempts and I'm pissed, but never too pissed to dress nice. And I think actually it is more than usual. It is this waistcoat, fully dressed to the nines, these layers and layers that are maybe even a little more in fashion for the era than he usually does, a little less avant-garde. There's still the touches of just bright splashes of things that might not be in fashion for the extreme, for the regular people, but for the extremely wealthy, it's you can do whatever you want. So, yeah, full like knee-high boots, the whole shebang. Not ready to fight a werewolf, I can tell you that much.
I think you're going to see Rick Miller barely holding on to the railing of the stairs and the banister in the central hall of Hargrave House as you're getting ready to leave. We'll have that scene in a moment. I do want to check in with Langfisk. Langfisk, you are in that particular that stairway entrance down below beneath the city that you believe is where the Limehouse Lurker has its nest. And you see Brother Samuel. Brother Samuel is approaching you. He's our disgraced vicar who we met briefly last time. you can smell the juniper smell on him. It's probably gin, and he's got a very like he looks like a vicar in with everything but the collar. He's very clean cut. He's very his fingernails are clean. His hair is combed, thin but combed, and he says, "Ah, Mr. Langfisk, there you are. Sorry, I was running a bit late."
We see Langfisk has a knife strapped to the belt, is wearing the style hat, but there's like some soot and mud to make the pale skin on the arms, and not on the arms, but on the face. Wearing a tight collared shirt, the sleeves are rolled down, is wearing a coat, and you can see there is a wrapped in canvas bundle on his back. And just goes, leave it to the evening, mate. Leave it to the clergy to show up late to something like this, Not like you probably got something else going on, right?
Something like this. Mr. Langfisk, how are we defining this tonight, precisely?
Fighting against the agents of darkness to make sure that the Lord's everlasting love and light still shines over the great United Kingdom, so that Queen Victoria may wake up in the morning, have herself a nice little fight, and get out of bed smiling, happy, ready to start a day.
Oh, splendid. Well, I do have to ask, Mr. Langfisk, are we expected to find the forces of darkness down there?
No, Samuel. It's not down there. It's going to be over there on the corner where you're going to set up a box. No, of course it's fucking down there. Yes, it's right down there.
Lord Grey, you were sending Elma Thorpe along as well, weren't you?
Oh, yeah. Have fun killing her.
So
that was
what's
sort of...
Elma's role in this? Elma Thorpe, to remind viewers, is the elder, curmudgeonly patron of the Dog and Whistle, who is also a worshiper of Lord Grey, as it turns out.
And sneaking around with Theodora. And
Possibly,
well, at least I thought so. So, Langfisk, that's up to you. Whatever you want to do with her.
That's dangerous. I think she just looks completely normal. She doesn't have anything on her or anything like that. And Langfisk will glare at her occasionally and then just cut back to Samuel and go, all right, well, that makes 3. Can't be bothered to have the rest of the cunts show up with us this evening, but I guess it's fine. It's fine.
Brother Samuel, when he kind of, as you're going downstairs, he kind of separates you from Elma a little bit, and he says, Mr. Langfisk, I've seen that woman before tonight. Surely this can't be a coincidence.
Sam, where did you see the cunt from before?
That no doubt very nice lady, Mr. Langfisk, who I'm sure would not appreciate being referred to as such. That's not a very Christian thing to say, Mr. Langfisk. That's neither here nor there. Well, she seems to know the woman who gave me a ride here.
Samuel, who gave you a ride here?
Oh, it was extraordinary, Mr. Langfisk. Her name is Mrs. Brathwaite, and she has the most extravagant carriage. I mean, really, truly extravagant. I mean, very, very Georgian, I would say. Incredible. She told me the most wonderful stories. I don't know how much you know about her, but this woman, she's amazing. Did you know, in the year 1844, after she had been reformed from her days as a pirate, she arrived in London, 26 years old, goes on a buying spree, snapping up real estate and businesses that she will later use to build her vast fortune. She's the toast of London, and she even told me on the way over that at the time there were very scandalous rumors suggesting that she and young Queen Victoria were lovers. mean, remarkable.
You and I are going to have a long talk, Samuel.
But apparently, in 1857, she had a falling out with Victoria. You see, Mrs. Brathwaite used to hold these fabulous masquerade balls, which I gather were attended by some rather lascivious types, and they got up to all sorts of untoward, unchristian behavior at these balls. And, well, Queen Victoria was starting to be known for her piety and for enforcing particular standards of morality upon the populace. And, well, they had a falling out over it. And, I gather it was, according to Mrs. Brathwaite, there's been a lot of anger, a lot of division between the two women ever since. I mean, isn't that funny? Me getting a ride from this fabulous, fantastic woman who has been in the upper echelons of political and royal monarchical power in this country. It's amazing. She was the pirate queen of Barbuda.
Langfisk is going to draw the knife and say, Samuel, if you don't get your holy rolling ass down in that hole right now with a crucifix and a Bible out, I am going to take both of those things and I'm going to shove them way up your own higher echelon of hierarchy and matriarchy. How does that sound? Monarchy. I don't give a fuck. Get in the hole. We have to hunt.
Well, as I was saying, Mrs. Brathwaite seems to know your friend there. They stopped, and she seemed to be giving her instructions of some sort.
All right, one minute. Emma?
Elma, she says.
That's what... Take this lantern. Go ahead. Start crawling down there. I'll help you out down. Brother Samuel's going to come down with you. I'm going to lead up the back. You two go up the front. I'm going to make sure nothing sneaks up behind us, all right? Keep your eyes peeled. If anything looks out of sorts, out of order, you let me know. If you do anything out of sorts or out of order, you will know immediately. Understood?
She nods. Brother Samuel nods, and you can continue on. As you're going down, though, he says, and then in 1861, and he keeps going on about Mrs. Brathwaite. I haven't forgotten about you, Knox. I do want to go back to Hargrave House for just a moment. Lord Grey, you see Rick Miller going through it. Let's just have the scene with the two of you.
Oh, good God. Rick, do I need to lock you in my room again?
No, I don't. I think I just need to... I need to get out.
Out? No. We're not doing this. We're not letting you roam. You chewed up all of my furniture. You can't just chew up everything in London. Come on. And he actually touches his shoulder, like to try to
and he swats him away, just like hand bat. Yeah. Getting meatier.
Excuse you?
I'm not joking. Gray, just let me get out of here.
No. You don't get to tell me how to handle this. All right? Now come on.
And he just continues descending down the stairs.
Fucking Christ. He scurries after you to try to shut the door and keep you in Hargrave House because this is how it worked last time. And so we're and that's how he thinks it's going to work again. Tries to scurry past you down the stairs. I don't know if you let him.
I think we do get that visual, him, Gray stopping at the door and with that little bratty glare. Look, I'm trying really hard not to snap you in half like a twig. Please. So you won't be bloody, and I won't regret anything that I've done so far.
Is that a threat, Mr. Miller?
It's a promise, I assure you, and I'm not being coy. Please.
Ring, 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 ring. Knox. You are taking a cab to the Society Obscura? Walking? What's going on?
After I set up my little signal up in the tower, I think I'm going to take a cab. I don't think there's there's no reason.
Remind
to
me what the
walk.
signal is. What's the signal
Oh,
doing?
I wanted to set up a third light lit, first two lights off signal
for the lurker. Good.
to the lurker to let them know something is amiss, or hope that I'm letting them know something is amiss. Outside of my elevated tower, just assuming they or someone in one of the vampires is watching. Before I go, I have zero. I'm not going to do anything about it other than that. But then I'm going to take a cab.
Cab through London. Love a handsome cab ride because you get to see parts of the city. You might even see some people running up from their mud-soaked treasures from the banks near the Port of London. Who knows? We get to see things. We get to feel the city. I would like to know, as you look around, Dr. Spectum, how can you tell that London knows it's not going to be the same after tonight?
I think we see that there is we get an early sense that there's a lot of activity on the street. Even in the middle of the night, London pulses and breathes. But tonight, it seems like everybody had the impulse to come outside for a little bit, to take a walk down the street, to lean over a fence and chat with a neighbor, to enjoy a smoke on the corner, to stroll down to the pub. The city is louder than normal. People are freer. There's this unspoken sense of revelry and the kind of abandon that you feel when you know something bad is about to happen and it's totally unavoidable. So you just want to suck in the last little bit of enjoyment you have. But it's very evident from the tone of the sounds we hear on the street. There's no sense of dread in them, just of that anticipatory revelry that comes before that dread sinks in.
I think as you drive by, you notice a cat. Two cats fighting over something in the street that looks like a severed hand. Around in water that for a moment looks like pools of blood. You can hear your own heartbeat. And then a sound, a feeling, something a little larger than, say, it sounds like a cat landing on the roof of the hansom cab, which they're exposed in the front, but you're covered
Right.
up above. Lands on the roof of the hansom cab, but it's a little bit bigger than a cat. What do you do?
I think in almost kind of a lazy motion, I take my bag and I just kind of flick it up to hit the bottom of this to knock whatever has hit the top of the cab back off.
It dodges your blow easily. You can hear it scuttling across the top. And then you see the handsome cab driver just gets pulled straight up into the air out of your vision. And we shall now return to the muddy shore. B, two youths come to blow. They come to blows over a case of whiskey with a couple of bottles still intact as they push and shove in the slimy mud How do we know this fight is about more than just the find?
At first, I think it seems like it's just over the find. But the first blow is much, much harder than it should be. And then from afar, you can hear them. Some of their mates look up and look over and they're like, oh shit, here they go. And they start talking about things that aren't the whiskey. They talk about how they used to do things together all the time. How come this is the only time they see each other now? Now you're going to do this. Now you're going to fucking start this. And the other one says that they just got this new job. They can't be seen doing the shit you used to do, the shit that you do now. It's going to make me look bad. And there is just a backhand across the face instead of a punch. And everybody else turns the other way and just shakes their head as these two exes take it out on each other over some whiskey. And I don't think any of them get to drink it.
Ring, ring goes the front door of Hargrave House.
Is there a peephole? Do we have
No.
one? Asshole. I think for a minute, Bastion stands there with, as Vyn so lovingly put it, that bratty little stare of like, I'm not gonna let you. And then there's another, and like kind of opens the door just a little bit and just doesn't even look who it is and says, what?
I came looking for Mr. Miller.
Who are you?
Oh, is that Lord Grey?
Oh God.
I'm from the Society Obscura. We met the other day.
Oh, you.
I was dressed for a Tales of the Arabian Nights photo session.
No, it's not the time. Please.
Oh, was that Mr. Miller? And he just sort of like pushes his way in.
No, we're busy. No.
He says, Mr. Rick, I came to...
Yeah, you kind of caught us in the middle of something.
What's going on? And he's like still like talking through the door. What's going on right now?
I think you
Honestly,
should.
It's none of your business, and you should just turn around and go back to the Obscura.
See, for once we agree. I think you should leave. Friend.
No, there's clearly something going on. I don't know what's going on, but I love you, Rick Miller.
And I want you to know that there is a pause, and Bastion does take the handle and opens the door and steps aside. Says, all right, go ahead if you want out.
Thank you. You'll see that Periwinkle is not dressed in a costume this time. He's in like normal clothes. He's wearing a nicely tailored little it's almost like an Argyle jacket with some gray slacks and a little neck cravat thing. And his hair has a little spit curl in the front. And he says, "What's going on? Why have you broken out in such a sweat, Rick? What's going on?" And he's going to he's worried about you. What do you do? What does he see?
He sees just the most disheveled Patrick you could ever see. Kind of doubled over, heavy breathing. I'm not going to torture you guys with that kind of ASMR. Not for free, at least. And like clearly those canines are getting sharper, and like his hands are getting a little hairier, and nails are extending. Almost like a costume. That's what it looks like, mid-costume. But
He says, "What's going on? Are you doing a photo session here? Some sort of terrible Grand Guignol horror show thing by the looks of this place? And you, Hunchback of Notre Dame thing or something.
Oh no. No.
I could probably go back and get my Esmeralda costume.
That would be so sweet.
But what's going on? What's Lord Grey? Look at him.
Oh, I see him. And he didn't listen to me. So he can handle it. And I think you can too. He looks up and down at Periwinkle, clearly trying to think of a nice adjective. A lovely young man. And I think Rick wanted to go out on the town, didn't you, Rick?
Rick, what happens that makes this impossible to ignore or throw aside right now?
Just the little conversation. And I think he has been like inching towards the door, just trying to escape this social situation on top of like the house altogether. And it's awful. It's like, it's not even inconspicuous. It's so obvious that he is just like trying to get out.
Dr. Spectum, a small, extremely pale little boy. He looks like he's no more than 5 or 6 years old, but you know, according to your colleagues at least, he's supposed to be much, much older. He lands in the seat where the carriage driver was. We don't know what happened to him. The horse is still kind of going, and the boy just turns to the horse and says, "Go to sleep." And the horse just stops in the middle of the street and gets down on its knees and goes to sleep. And then he turns and says, "I saw your signal."
I was worried you might be otherwise occupied.
Oh?
Yes,
Is this about the people who are currently approaching my nest?
Yes, but I'm also not quite sure your hunting schedule. How often you need to prowl to procure more sustenance. Different creatures have different needs. And I wasn't quite sure what yours would be.
And my needs are even greater than most, because I feed the others in my nest. It's easier for me to go about than it is for them. They aren't what we would call presentable.
A caretaker, then.
Yes. I feed them directly from my mouth, like a mother bird with her chicks.
We must do what we have to do for our creations.
Yes, we have that in common, don't we?
What are you up to this evening?
I was hoping I might engage you in a spirited conversation on matters related to life and death. And here I would like the night move, Dr. Spectum. What are you afraid is going to happen if this encounter goes poorly?
It's so hard because right now Nox is thrilled by the possibility of this conversation. I think I am mostly worried that we will get found out by another member of Hargrave House.
It's worse than that. The lurker will end up in permanent residence at Hargrave House. And perhaps not
not in the
that
good
you
way
all
that
will
some
like.
players are hoping
Yeah.
for.
Exactly.
be
Not in the way
clear.
you would like.
To be clear. Awesome. Love it.
This is going to be with sensitivity.
Sensitivity.
And disadvantage because of the nature of life and death.
Yeah. That is going to be a 8, actually, with sensitivity.
Good. We'll pick up the scene in a moment. Langfisk, you have no idea your quarry is not currently in the nest, but that's okay. I think Elma Thorpe, Lord Grey, is more of a letter of the law gal than spirit of the law gal. And so I want to ask you, what did you specifically command her to do? Was it just to go with Langfisk?
I told her that she would make excellent bait. Specifically. Right. I did not tell her that she needed to go literally die for anything and that she needed to go with Langfisk. Those were the two things I told her.
Doesn't she need to wear the cloak also too? Wasn't that the other element of it?
Oh yeah, that sounds right. That sounds like a thing. Yeah, I gave it to her for sure. And but definitely that was probably just a for me thing. That was but do with that what you will.
Well, because it sounds like Theodora got to her too, and so I just want to, I don't know, I want to play with what Elma's actually up to here.
Please do.
But as Langfisk and co. get down into these subterranean tunnels, let's paint the scene, everyone. I'd also be curious to hear from chat as well. How can we tell these tunnels are positively crawling with creatures that never see the light of the sun or the moon?
There are in these, not corners, because there's not a lot of corners in tunnels, but piled up against the wall with the debris and the sewage, there are bones picked clean.
You see a thin, kind of bedraggled form slightly out of the light from your lamps. As you kind of pause, it moves ponderously across the light, completely unaware of it. And as it turns to look at you, you realize there are no eyes in the sockets of its head. And then it continues to move out further into the darkness.
Following that, like a hunter after stalking a prey, we see Langfisk guiding the other two, and they pass by a nook in the wall, and one of those similar creatures with the socketless eye, like the no eyes whatsoever, steps out and sniffs the air and opens its mouth. And we can see that, like, those socklet eyes, it's all devoid of color. It's hairless, and there's sharp rows of spine-like teeth protruding.
To be sure I have it right, they have nothing in their sockets, right?
Correct.
Like
the sockets are empty.
Sockets?
Yes,
got it.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah.
And going even further, deeper into the tunnels, you just hear a clicking and snapping and echoes for these creatures. Thank you. Of echolocation and such.
Someone grab that sound now. We're just going to have a Jason Cordova sound bank.
That's not even one of my better ones, but it's not too bad. This is bad business, Langfisk. What are you doing right now?
Langfisk has had a torch and is going to give it to Elma and say, "Center of the room, love. Be strong. and is going to slowly and quietly drop that canvas bundle and open it. And you can see glintering in the light is that mostly complete silver coffee set.
As you're getting everything ready, Brother Samuel says, Mr. Langfisk, look, the walls in this place, they're moist, squishy with plant life, but look what happens when I move the lantern light close. And you see the plant life visibly recoil from the lamplight. He says, I can't stay here, Mr. Langfisk. This place is of the devil.
This place is of the devil, Father, and you're the most useful tool, so I need you to hold that lantern close and give up some alms, please.
I am no longer in the good graces of the church, Mr. Langfisk. I fear that my presence here would be an affront to God, actually, and it's probably best if I'm not here, you see. It's all very...
You turn tail and run. I'm going to take whatever gin bottle you crawled out of, and I'm going to bash it over your head and slit your throat with it. Do your prayers.
Oh, all right. But he comes back to where you're at, and he says, do you have gin?
Gonna pull out a flask and just shove it into his chest.
Elma says, so what are you doing there, Langfisk?
Just getting a little station set up, love. You see, you're all dressed up pretty in that cloak. You've got a couple of lantern torchlight around you. You should be safe as long as those creatures, don't knock that torch out of your hand. And I'm going to do my best to clear them out.
I love it. Let's go back to moonlit mudlarking. Here we go. Wes, an older woman, perhaps not unlike Elma, picks through the mud. Lost in her own world, she does not seem to focus on items of monetary value. What do we see her collect, in fact?
We see this woman. She's wearing a plaid shawl, ratty, filled with holes. Her feet up to her ankles, almost to her knees, over her shin, are covered with mud. Her boots are tied around her pack. She has an open satchel, this canvas satchel that she's moving around, and her feet are squishing in the mud. And she has a lantern light, and she's in this obscure, just covered. There's not a lot of there's no docks or nearby part of the Thames. And she goes, all right, dearie. Now it's time for collections. Come on, Mother's going to get you real quick. No worries. And she goes, and she holds it up, and we can see these little tendrilled plants, bioluminescent, retract from the lantern light. She goes, I know. Quite afeard of the light, aren't you? And she goes ahead and she blows it out and sets the lantern down. And then we can see this bioluminescent, tendrilled, fungus moss. And she gets on her hands and knees, and she pulls out a knife, and she grips it at the bottom where the roots are collected, digs the knife in, and cuts at the root so she doesn't break the stem, and starts collecting them. She goes, that's one. On to the next one. Oh, you're looking quite ripe, quite fed. You're staying quite fed, dearies. She makes her collections. And then she goes over to her pack that she set down. And we can see there are bits of human bits, fingers and bones and everything. And she starts spreading them over the mud. And they just start slowly sinking into the mud. And we can see that bioluminescent glow brighter.
Lord Grey, Mr. Miller. Mr. Miller's clearly losing control here. Periwinkle, to Periwinkle's great credit, he's not running away in fear. If anything, he's running closer to Rick. He wants to help. He's not getting anything from Lord Grey, and so he's trying to help Rick Miller. Lord Grey, you hear a voice. from somewhere else in the house. A voice that you might recognize. Lord Grey. Lord Grey. I'm going to come find you, Lord Grey. I haven't forgotten, Lord Grey. I very nearly got to taste you, Lord Grey.
Bitch. Oh, this is not the
You can
time
hear-
I say to no one.
You can hear whoever it is rummaging around through your stuff in your chambers.
That. And I look at these two, and specifically if Rick even is, if Rick is looking up, I will make eye contact one last time. You two lovebirds have a good night. And I turn and I go up the fucking stairs, pissed and irrational.
Well, Mr. Miller, any chance that Lord Grey might have been able to help you have flown the coop. But Periwinkle's there. How bad is it at this point, Patrick? What is it like? What's going on?
It's fucking painful. And it's getting less and less human by the minute. And eventually he just takes Periwinkle by the shoulders, half mutated claws sinking into his nice shirt and his nice skin and his nice muscle, but not his nice bones. We're not a monster yet. Look, whatever you thought was going on here isn't. Now you need to go. Before you won't even be Periwinkle anymore. You'll be Crimson. And whatever color Viscera is, fresh on the floor.
His lower lip is trembling. There's a sweat broken out over his brow and his upper lip. But he does not turn. He says, I don't know exactly what's going on, Rick Miller. I don't understand any of this. I don't understand this place. I don't know. But I believe that I'm meant to be here right now. I believe that I'm meant to be here. I believe that I'm supposed to help you get through this, whatever this is. I will. I don't know. Perhaps it's like in a fairy tale. It's like a fairy tale where true love conquers the beast, or the prince turns from the frog. I don't know. But I'm not going to run away from you.
And that's when claw meets bone.
He cries out.
He
that screams.
Grip. Go ahead.
Lord Grey, you hear Periwinkle scream. We'll see what Periwinkle's fate is in a moment. Let's go back to Knox. You got a mid result, right?
Yeah.
There is another one who seeks an audience with me. She plays a game. She has offered me an opportunity that may not come again. A chance for me to stride across the world as I was meant to do.
What holds you back from that now?
I'm not sure if I'm interested in power anymore. I wonder if I am instead more interested in what you're doing. I'm interested in your meditations on life, Dr. Spectum. I find your work very intriguing, Perhaps I missed my calling as a man of science. Perhaps that's what I would have grown up to be when I was mortal.
There was so much to discover then. I'm sure over the years you've
Over the centuries.
even better learned many things. I can't imagine that there's someone who could offer you more power. The power that they are imagining must seem so limiting in some ways to you.
Perhaps. I have forgotten more things from the ancient world than you could ever learn in your studies. I could certainly tell you of how the old ones used to deal with the dead. I could tell you many tales, many procedures. The power of crypts, the sanctity of blood, the movement of fluids through sacred points in the body.
What would you need in exchange for this?
I need a place of my own.
A safe place.
Yes. And regular feeding.
Fascinating.
Langfisk. Oh boy. What's your plan here with all this silver? Out of character. What are you going to do?
So, the plan is to have Elma stand in the center of the room with a torchlight, hopefully kind of drawing the attention of some of these creatures. Langfisk is going to try to quietly move around the room. And we see that silver coffee set. Unfortunately, I'm so sorry, Nox, has been broken down. And it has sort of like pseudo stakes. There's leather straps tied around the ends of these jagged silver pieces of metal, and is going to try to Solid Snake, Agent 47, this kind of thing of moving through, having Samuel also kind of like, I'm just like, go through the prayers, Lord prayer, all of it, mate. Just start singing songs of Solomon. I don't give a fuck. All right, just do whatever you can, just to kind of keep them at bay, away from Elma. And I'm going to try to routinely start clearing them out one by one. If things go to shit, well, then there's a lantern and a torch, and this room seems hella flammable. So
Make a night move. What do you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
that we're going to have a Jurassic Park situation. We're going to have a clever girl situation where maybe even Langfist gets a little bit too confident and is taking out a couple and doesn't know, is paying attention to the ones in front and is not paying attention to the ones to the side that might try to flank and take him out.
It's worse than that. All three of you get completely overwhelmed, and that is it. This is going to be with. I'm going to make it. I should make it with sensitivity, but I think I'm going to go with reason. And are you? Are you marking an item here, or
the mostly complete silver coffee set?
I love it. Okay, you
I
can
was
mark
also
that.
going to say you could mark Elma as an item because I should have transferred her
Oh,
to you.
that's true too. Yeah, you have Elma
wanna
as well, and also
be
Brother
able to-
Samuel to some degree, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
but like she could be used for me as like an advantage, but now she's in your hands. So just in case you want to keep a silver stake.
I'll give you double advantage because you have so much help here between Brother Samuel and Elma and the silver set. If you mark the silver set.
Yeah, because Samuel gives me advantage
Yeah.
as well. Okay, yeah, I'll mark the set.
We're doing it live. Game design live.
Okay, bone dice and jewel dice. Let's see what happens. That is a 6 plus a 4, which is a 10, plus a 1, which is 11.
Fantastic. Be thinking about what this battle looks like. And we'll take our last trip over to Moonlit Mudlarking for this night phase. Then several bedraggled children poke a bloated corpse with sticks, as you do. Those who do not double over retching rifle through the waterlogged effects. What last traces of this person's life or death do they run off with?
It's just another day at the playground. No, it's not. The kids are like looking for like any wallets, any like wet money, jewelry, and what they end up with is guts and bone and veins in their faces because they poked the metaphorical bear a little too long and the bloated corpse explodes. So whoever wasn't losing their lunch has it on the floor now. Stomach acid kind of tingles on their chin as it drips off and soaks their clothes. They're going to wish they were dead, but their parents are probably going to wring them out with the laundry.
Lord Grey, do you rush up to your personal quarters to see who's invaded?
I think I don't rush up. I pause on the stairs to hear Periwinkle scream, just because it's interesting. And then I keep moving. And I
Scar your reflection.
Oh yeah. I was wondering how mean I was gonna have to be before you told me to do that.
I think that's probably the one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. That's
the
one,
rest you can
baby.
attribute to just casual Lord Grey.
Casual cruelty.
Yeah.
But no, and I actually stopped by Langfisk's quarters first and see if I can grab like a knife or something he has, because I know he's like armed. I don't know if he has anything. I don't own one, but
Langfisk, is there something that Lord Grey might be able to find?
a sharp thing? I don't know what you don't have on you.
Yeah, you walk in, it's like the Spartan quarters and everything. There's a chest of drawers, there's a wardrobe, and there's a footlocker, and you're like, footlocker. And then you go to the footlocker and you open it, and it's just folded clothes, a lot of the similar clothes, like same clothes and everything, folded up. And you're like, what? And then you look over the dresser and you open it up, and there are collections of knives, there are bullets, there are guns. And then you're like, and then you go over to the wardrobe and you open it up, and there are harpoons, spears, tridents, things of this like there are swords, things of these natures that have just been collected over y'all's journeys of just things that have just been scooped up and everything. And you notice like, and we can even see, like the audience can see that there are like guns tucked behind like held, like strapped down behind certain furniture, and a vase that has a bunch of flowers. There's a bunch of arrows inside of it too, like crossbow bolts inside of it too.
Oh my god. It's just like, so this is where it all went. Oh. And takes a knife, like a dagger, because I don't think Lord Grey's ever used a gun.
picks up a gun.
Picks up a gun and thinks about it. Not personal enough. That's not how I do things. And so I take a dagger, and there's, once again, no plan. I really have to emphasize that there's no plan here other than stabbing someone that's made me mad.
And then do you head over to your chambers?
Oh yeah, buddy, we are in there. I am armed with one dagger.
You see in your room, you smell first before you even walk in, a smell that smells like a combination of the River Thames, which at this time would be a very bad smell, but also just a sort of general cold oiliness.
Ugh.
And you see this fucking vampire in your room, hunkered down, going through your drawers, your chest of drawers, and like you're smelling your shirts and your clothes, and just he's clammy looking and pale, and lank black hair running over his face. He looks a little. He's got kind of a Brad Dourif look, I would say, or Brad Dourif, and he looks over at you. And he says, "Ah, Lord Grey, I was wondering when we would get a chance to meet each other, Lord Grey."
You little worm. Disgusting. You should leave now.
No, Lord Grey. I belong here even more than you.
That's cute. Do tell me how. Disgusting little creature.
I shall introduce myself.
Do it.
I am a former hunter in residence here at Hargrave House. Some 300 years ago, I think.
Seems like you did a pretty bad job then.
Oh, Hargrave House's remit was slightly different back then, Lord Grey.
So are you going to just keep rummaging through my things, or are you at least going to take me out to dinner first?
Oh, Lord Grey, we'll have plenty of time in the future to discuss food and nourishment.
You wish. You wish. Good God. This is insufferable. I think I'm just going to try to walk up and stab him because I've gotten angry enough that I forget that I probably am not good at fighting.
He backs up and he says, "I'll go."
Will you?
Yes, but I'll be back.
No, you won't.
We'll see. We'll see.
Get the fuck out of my room.
He goes back to the window that he crawled through. I never got to introduce myself. The name's Julius. And then he just dives out the window.
And only after he's gone, I think actually after he's gone, Lord Grey fucking throws the knife against a wall. Kind of mad he didn't get to stab this fool, even though it probably wouldn't have worked. And shuts the window and is just like, ugh, ew, ugh.
Langfist, please describe how you don't find the lurker, but you and your companions at least survive the night.
We see Elma holding that torch, and she's like, is there anybody there? Oh dear, and seeing scurrying around and moving. And then we hear Sanctus, 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 Dominus Deus Sabaoth, giving the Sanctus prayer, starting off, and then going into the Apostles' Creed. And with each finishing line, we see the torch flame a little bit brighter. And in the shadows, you can see Langfist in between flares of the torch will move behind a pillar. And then there's a creature that's crawling around. And then there'll be a slice of the Achilles tendon and then a boot down and then stabbing in the heart and then leaving it. And there's just all of these metal stakes that are just in different places that he can grab. And then back into the shadows. And then there's another flare up of another line. Elma is freaking out, and then we'll see another one of about to lunge at her and then grabbing it by the back of a collar and slamming it into a pillar and then jamming a big piece into it, holding it into the wall. And that's just how it goes as they're just moving through, and then Langfist is just getting covered more and more in muck and blood and viscera. And then this flame, it's getting so hot that it's almost about to burn her hands. And it does start burning her hands. And we hear the singeing and she's about to drop it. And at the last minute, there's one that has snuck around her and is creeping up behind her. And Langfisk moves in behind her and says, "It's fine, too." And is going to grab the torch and jam it into its mouth as it was about to bite her. And it just burns inside and it burns away the skull. And then it falls over and there's just a little bit of torchlight. And Langfisk spits and then looks over towards the father. And he's like, "Oh, okay. Haven't done that in forever." And then there's one that's about to grab him, and then we just see one of those metal shards just go and jam into its heart, and it just keels over dead. And he just goes, "Oh, well, good shot, Langfisk." And then we just see Langfisk is just covered in shit and goes, "It's not here. I want to collect some things. You can go ahead and make your way to the surface. I'll burn it all. Leave the lantern."
Dr. Spectum, you hear a voice of a woman. "I think I can help the two of you come to an agreement that's beneficial to us all." And Mrs. Brathwaite steps up into the hansom cab to join you and the lurker. She says, "The three of us are all very, very similar. In fact, I am intrigued by the possibility of immortality, by the possibility of everlasting life. And in a certain way, you, Dr. Spectum, and you, poor, benighted, but incredibly ancient creature, and also Lord Grey, I suspect, know something about prolonging life, exploring the boundaries of life and death. I can help you both. Dr. Spectum, I can give you a state-of-the-art research facility within the walls of Brathwaite Hall. You can come by any time you like to work on your little experiments. And this little one here shall enjoy feasting upon London's finest whenever he wants. What do you say?"
Takes off and polishes his glasses and puts them back on. And are you familiar with the cuckoo bird?
Yes.
It's a fascinating creature. It's more common in the Americas. It does something called brood mimicry. It lays its eggs in the nests of other creatures. Those creatures then raise the young as if they were their own. Their power dwindling, and the expansion of the cuckoo going on. The paper wasp does something incredibly similar. It's lost its ability to breed, to make a nest. It can lay eggs, but it cannot create a home for them. I've had many homes in my time, and one thing I've learned is that homes are a myriad of power structures. Academia is a power structure. Education is a power structure. Hargrave House is a power structure. London is a power structure. In any given relationship, some people will have power and other people will seek to subvert that power and make it their own. Because, madam, much like the cuckoo takes the place of another, I simply refuse to do so. I am happy to make space for someone in need as I look at the lurker, someone who may be looking for a nest. Hargrave House has always been a place where people land when they are in need. However, Madam, the term cuckoo in the French is also cuckold, and I absolutely refuse to be one for you. And so I've had the honors of academia in the past, and that power does not interest me. And I have had the ostentatiousness of being well respected in the medical field. The reason that I don't like when people call me a doctor is because it's a power structure that I've outgrown and not one that I would look forward to moving back into. Yes, we all have common interests, but I think what you offer is weakness and dependency that builds your power and not ours. And I motion to myself and the lurker.
Very well, Dr. Spectum. And then she turns to the lurker. Little one, I can make it so you feast on Queen Victoria herself. What a magnificent banquet that would be. And here, Nox, I think you have to roll to see if you can convince the lurker to come with you.
Sure.
It's going to be with presence.
Okay.
And I don't think any of your conditions don't apply here.
Yeah. I've got a 6 and a 4, which is going to give us at least a 10. And I don't remember what I have. And I don't think I have anything in presence. And so
You're good. How do you know that you've won?
I think we see the lurker look at the two of us, say, I've tasted many kings and queens in my time, and then just leap off into the night.
Rick Miller, this is it for you. You are about to transform, and we will never see you as Rick Miller again. Well, not alive anyway. But there is still hope for Periwinkle. Periwinkle's fate will be left to a die roll that cannot be used. You cannot use the Janus mask on it. It will be made at disadvantage. But if you have something from your personal quarters, one last object that might help Periwinkle escape or stay your hand long enough to save Periwinkle, I'll let that cancel out the disadvantage.
Oh boy, oh golly, oh gee. I'm maneuvering with one eye. Please give me patience. All right. Looking at my items. You know what? I think Periwinkle will take the revolver from Rick's belt.
Nice. And just like shoot you until he can escape. Yes. Is that the plan? Mm-hmm. 2d6 plus, I don't think it's anything. It's just 2d6. Let's just see where it goes.
All right, big money, no whammies. On the nose, that is a 7.
Very good. It won't be great for Periwinkle. It'll be rough, but he will escape. Go ahead and describe how Periwinkle survives as we see the last of Rick Miller.
As soon as the screams burn his throat and he can't scream any longer, it's this dry rasp and tears flowing. He realizes that love doesn't exist, and the only thing that's left between those two is survival. Two animals trying to survive. And as he sees the wolf in Rick's face coming more pronounced, his human skin ripping and making way for fur, snout, and so on, he looks for anything that would work None of the fairy tales prepared him for this, as he just grabs the gun from his clothes, which are already like getting tighter and ripping and going asunder, and just jabs it right into the growing muzzle and shoots.
That'll conclude our night phase. I think at this point, I'd like to take a 5-minute break. We'll come back from that break. We'll do our dawn phase, and then we will meet our brand new hunter replacing Rick Miller. And then we'll go to Stars and Wishes from there. So you want to take us out, Tony?
Yeah, we'll be back in just 5 minutes to finish up our session of The Between. And is my audio there? Oh, and we are back. Sorry, Streamlabs is just slow tonight. I got to run some updates on the computer after this. And we are back from, I think we're done with the night phase. Maybe that's Jason letting us into a false sense of security before.
No, we're done.
He bounces one more time. So let's go back into the game for the dawn phase.
Indeed. All right, quite an eventful night phase. Let's go to the dawn and see what we're going to do at the end here with these characters. Okay. Normally, you would collect rewards if a threat was resolved. I'm not saying this is resolved yet. It is. Is it? I don't know. I guess.
I made the roll, Jason. No, I'm just kidding.
The opportunity is destroy vampire or convince vampire to leave London. That is the opportunity.
Yeah.
I think he may not be an active threat anymore, but I think he's a danger nonetheless. I don't know. I'm going back and forth on it. I'm open to hearing arguments for how you have actually convinced him to leave London.
I mean, yeah, I was thinking it didn't feel like we got to a resolution point in the night phase. So unless there's another scene when we get back to the Hargrave house, like it felt like there's something dangling there, right? So
I think there's something dangling there. I don't think it's quite done yet. Yeah. I think there's more.
Which is not me arguing against you. This is me agreeing with you. It didn't feel
No. Yeah, I just think there's another shoe to drop yet on Limehouse Lurker. So we're gonna leave that for now. But we are gonna answer Dawn questions. So everyone gets the first one. Did you answer a capital Q question? You got that from last time, from last session. Echoes in the night? I think I heard echoes from mostly everyone. Does anybody think they did not get one? Pretty sure everyone did. I noted in my brain that everyone got one. Mr. Miller, did you have a raw, passionate sexual encounter during which your feral nature manifested? I don't know if it was sexual, but I think it was. Well, it doesn't even matter. You're gone. You didn't get XP. What are we doing? I do think that moment with Periwinkle, if you were still collecting XP, would probably have qualified. Did you encourage a fellow hunter to let loose for a change? I don't know. I don't know if we got there.
No.
Yeah. Langfisk, more relevant, more salient here. Did you subtly express sexual desire for your employer in the way you dress them or serve them? Going back to last time too.
Yeah, in the pub, removing the cloak and everything.
I love it. Fantastic. Did you demonstrate obsequious behavior towards your employer in front of others?
Yes, going ahead and like doing everything for like the betting pool and everything, getting all that set up, getting drinks for them and everything, serving hand and foot and everything throughout that whole time.
Fantastic. You picked up 4 XP. Let's go to Dr. Spectum. Did you dismiss the possibility of a supernatural explanation despite everything you've experienced?
I did extensively last time, yeah.
You did indeed. Did you secretly engage in romantic or emotional behavior at odds with your aloof?
Fuck yeah, exterior? I did. But, you know.
You know. Lord Grey. Did you express a clear preference for the beautiful over the mundane? Definitely at the end there, but I don't know if you have any other thoughts.
I feel like I might have the other time, but definitely at the end, I'm going to count that.
Yeah. Did you appear in London society wearing risque or avant-garde fashion?
I don't think I'm not going to actually count that one just because I don't think it was like, unless you think it was avant-garde of me to dress up like an absolute dandy buffoon to a betting hall.
It didn't feel like a moment, I think is the idea.
That's what I was like, it didn't feel right. Like I wouldn't count that.
Yeah. Fantastic. XP is handed out. I don't think we have any open Janus mask prompts at this point. And so, yeah. All
right. I do want to jump back to a second. I would say I want to talk about whether or not we resolved the threat. It doesn't matter. I don't think we resolved the
Are you going to make a case now?
So I want to look at the question, and this may just be more of an editing for the final version thing, less of a actual. It's about the use of the term by infiltrating its nest and then destroying it or convincing it to leave. You use it 3 times in a row. I think 2 times the same
Oh,
way
like
and
destroying
one
the
time,
nest? Is that what you mean?
and one time the third way. So like technically, I don't think the thread is resolved. Like I'm fully in agreement about that. So this may just be a pedantic note in live. Yeah, I think changing it, that second it, clarifying it is probably where I would hang this if I was going to argue.
Resolve the threat by infiltrating its nest and then destroying it. Or convincing it to leave London. I think
the second it is.
I think that
clearly,
last it informs what the first one is.
I think
right?
so too. But yeah, I think, and how many people are going to end up in this exact situation?
I don't know if we're there yet. I just feel like in the story, I think there's another.
I'm fine leaving it dangling. I like where we're at, but
I think it's really funny though because like mechanically, I have the authority to just let Theodora take the lurker anyway, because there's enough mastermind clues. But I am honoring the efforts that the two of you have made and make Theodora work a little harder for it.
Just let the lurker be my friend.
We're gonna work. I let Theodora's gonna have to work just a little extra hard for this.
Let the lurker be my weird parent child.
Vyn, please introduce this character like we would any character. Introduce this character by playbook, by name, by look, by vice, and then we'll go back and go a little deeper.
Actually, you guys, I changed my mind. Let me be Patrick again. I'm kidding. I'm playing the vessel. Like I said, every time before my role, I'm playing Septimus Redding, who prefers Tim because that's much more mundane and quiet. Pronouns, they, any. Looks, we have a little scroll. A bejeweled eye patch, black lace gloves, and raven cuffs, which I had a raven shawl, it just felt a little too gaudy. And then my vice is sex with dark entities.
It's the easiest vessel vice ever. Actually, no, it's not. You know why it's a hard vice? Because for it to trigger the vulnerable move, you have to have another hunter there as well.
I've been thinking about that.
Yeah, it's actually a really hard vice, but it's a fun vice for the vessel, though. I'm here for it. We're going to go deeper. I'm going to read the descriptive bit of your playbook, and then everybody else is going to pay attention and give you something for your personal quarters, something that we think Septimus Tim Redding might have brought to Hargrave House or have in their quarters. I'm going to let chat pick my contribution to your personal quarters. So chat, if you want to give me some ideas for what Redding might have in their personal quarters. I love really creepy things, chat, so don't let me down. I will pick something from chat, and then of course the other players will get to make an offer. So I will go ahead and read the descriptive bit. For as long as you can remember, dark entities have been near. They lurk just inside your peripheral vision, just at the mirror's edge. When you close your eyes, you can actually feel them. Their cold breath, their oily touch, an occasional feverish embrace. They want to be inside you. They want to rub against your guts and deposit their power. Others are drawn to you as well, those who would use you to master these dark things in order to serve their own agenda. Some of these interlopers, these usurpers, can be of use, such as the hunters with whom you will be soon sharing a home. Others, like the Coven, are best avoided. In either case, you are no one's object, tool, or weapon. You are no mere bystander. Your fate is yours to shape. What do we suppose Septimus Redding brought to Hargrave House?
Leather binding cuffs, where on the inside cuff are the teeth of a dead vicar.
I think that fits very well with what I was going to say, which is a flogger that has an upside down cross embroidered on it and the ends are sharp with little bits of silver.
A sealed crystal decanter filled with eyeballs.
These are all so ghoulish and good. I'm seeing various offerings, various things in chat. Oh, there's some really good ones. I want to read some of them off. So Amanda has suggested a Ouija board, a planchette rather, from a Ouija board made from a human bone. That's pretty good. Amanda also has a taxidermied severed hand with the palm lines stitched in colorful embroidery. Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah. Oh, Chaotic has the demon Epos. They offer useful advice sometimes as they can see into the future. Interesting. A whole ass demon. Some charcoal for quote unquote doodling with. That comes from Retrofitter. Ray's is really good. The final notes sung by a renowned opera singer, captured in a glass bottle and sealed with wax. That's pretty dope. A Hand of Glory from Kevin. That's great. These are all good options. I'm going to go with... I like the final notes sung by a renowned opera singer, captured in a glass bottle sealed with wax.
You got some weird bottles in your quarters.
Lots of bottles. Fantastic. We will get to learn more about the vessel next time. For now, we're going to wrap up our session with Stars and Wishes. What an eventful night phase. Who wants to kick off Stars and Wishes?
I can go because I was almost gushing during break because everybody is so fucking talented. I'm going to start with what I had already started on break. Nox, that whole monologue was so stellar. I was rapt. I was so like, it felt like I was watching a movie, like a scene from a movie. And Jason, that little slow clap at the end was just the perfect punctuation. And this just absolutely killer pacing that you slowed down on purpose, Tony, to really let us simmer in that moment. And it really, really worked. It was just delicious. And I really appreciate how well that was done. And it was just absolutely fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. Speaking of really intense moments, Vyn, thank you for letting me be such a little bitch to you. That was very fun. I think you did that, handling like the death of a character, especially with Jason throwing Periwinkle in there to really amp up the drama. Oh, you did such a wonderful job with that. That's super, super cool. That's like, what a way for Rick to go out. That's horrific. And letting Periwinkle having him take the gun. Oh, what a move. That's so good. And I'm very excited to really meet Tim Redding. This is what a fascinating person. Ooh, I think them and Lord Grey gonna get along. But yeah. But no, absolutely just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Wes Langfisk, absolutely. This is the second time you've absolutely whipped a bunch of vampires' asses. And to no avail, really. Like, you are like actually being like Solid Snake and getting no thanks for it, hoisting these upon your back and taking these threats to the end. And everyone else is like, I'm gonna go do my own shit. And it's very, very good. I love your plan was crazy and it was really well executed. I love the way you talked to the vicar. That was very funny. You and Jason really, like, that rapport was so fucking good. That was so good. Threatening to kill him with a gin bottle just really did it for me. And the way you killed all the vampires, that was a sick fight scene. That was so well choreographed, if that makes any sense. We didn't get to watch, but it felt very well choreographed, and I really, really loved it. It was beautiful. Jason, this was a crazy night phase. This was so cool. You did so. You brought in characters like at the perfect moments. I'm so glad you got Periwinkle in there, and that scene between you and Vyn was so heart-wrenching, and it was so beautifully done, and I really loved that chemistry. That was really, really good. Theodora showing up the worst best time, absolutely fabulous. Whoever the hell Julius is, I like this guy. He's wet and nasty. I like him. He's terrible. I'm very interested. What is wrong with him? And
Juicy Julius.
ooh, we love this. We love this nasty man. I'm very excited to see what next session holds.
Yeah, stars for everyone. Everybody was just firing on all cylinders tonight. Like it was just so good. Considering we didn't have a lot of runway in terms of like playtime tonight, but everyone made the most out of it, and so I was really, really happy with what everyone did. I'll second the star on the fight choreography with the underground Morlock vampires. They were incredible. That was really fun. There was a part of me that wanted to like kind of get involved in that and do all my nasty hissing wet man noises, but I was like, no. I really like what Wes is doing here, and I thought you did a great job just kind of like giving us that whole scene and using those two side characters to kind of make it all happen. And it was terrific. I love the speech that Nox gave to Theodora. It was such a like interesting. It really, really like set the table for like Theodora's like the ultimate confrontation with Theodora, right? Like because now you're more like. I think she thought that maybe she could like work with Hargrave House. Like there was a space for Hargrave House and her to be on side. And I think that maybe after that, that's not the case, right? And
I love
it was a good
because
speech.
there's no context in which Nox would be talking for anyone else at Hargrave House. Just
I know, yeah.
Personal disdain for systems of power.
And just making decisions for everyone. Like, yeah, sure, let the vampire move in. No worries. I'm sure that that's a wish as well. I'm really excited to see where that goes. I hope that doesn't just get like, we don't just like forget the vampire in the bell tower, right? Like I really want to see the lurker, come back into the story in whatever way that happens to be. This is really, really terrific. Lord Grey, love the there was this like moment where I thought maybe Lord Grey is going to do right by Rick Miller and really get in there and try to help Patrick Miller, but you didn't. You just Lord Greyed your way right back up the stairs and dealt with whoever was messing around with your stuff, and it was just such a Lord Grey moment, and I really, really loved it. It had such like chaotic like Lestat energy, and I really dig that, and so it's just a fun like counterpoint to like to kind of what was going on in that scene and in this session. Really, really into it. Yeah. And Vyn, the stuff with Periwinkle was really, really something. This was a short-lived love affair, but it felt real between them. It felt good. It felt like pure and true. And I would have liked it just as well if Periwinkle had not survived. I think that would have been poetic and horrifying at the same time. But I'm happy that he did. And I really hope it's not the last time we see Periwinkle. And I really hope that like whatever ends up happening with the Cursed, because we're not done with Rick Miller, right? As a player, you're done with Rick Miller, but Hargrave House is not done. And I hope that gets worked in there. And I hope that Periwinkle continues to be like in the story in some way. But just the way you played that with him, the way you sort of like, it was really funny. Like, it was like you were trying to like the way you tried to scare him away, was really great, like to save him. Like you did what you could do in that moment. It was just a really, really good scene. It's just really like just high watermark role playing. Good stuff. And yeah, I'm just really excited to see where this goes. I think it's going to be this felt like the kind of like mid-season finale of the campaign. We
got the 2-part episode, and
yeah. So it felt really good. Yeah.
Means we're going to come back with a bigger budget after the break. Also, too, everybody's going to get costume upgrades. New characters are going to get Well, you had to write Rick's actor off because they were not Vyn, just the actor that actually played the characters, and that's why they're a villain now. No, I loved it. I commented on this earlier. Like, it's always weird. Like when you want to do a big swing monologue, it always feels weird. I do like that. I got a chance to do one though, and it's also fun because like I'm a constant Googler whenever I play either dungeon games or if I'm playing a cerebral character, which I do a lot. So I was already like looking up like brood mimicry and some other stuff, just thinking like, how am I going to talk to this thing as its nest is getting eliminated about potentially still being friends? And then when Theodora, whatever, I'd already run across like cuckoo, and I knew that I knew cuckold was the same root word, and I went back. I did etymological deep dives in the middle of stream, along with scientific research, because that's the kind of player I am. And so it was super fun. But it's happened a couple times when we played things where there's a weird thing that'll pop off big, like the oh god, what was it when we were playing on the writers retreat? When I drained the lake and then Daniel Kwan yelled something dumb down at me, to like, Jason, you did my star is like, you do this really great thing of letting a player swing big and have that great spotlight moment and then bringing the energy right back down to where it needs to be. And that slow clap is like such a great level setting with the type of person you are, but you do it just really well as a GM. Like I think a lot of GMs don't know how to respond well to those big moments and then move to the next thing, and bringing that energy down and then transitioning is 100% where it needs to be. And you just do it incredibly well. Then your pacing and your like patience with it. I think it's really easy to take the American into like big monster territory. And you're just doing it through like the disheveled and very human reality of the way that you portrayed Patrick was like, I think such a really cool thing, because I also think it's going to amp it up now when we actually get to see a very monstrous version of them. I think it'll create a really great parallel. But it was really impressive to do that. And yeah, the scene with Periwinkle, especially after last session's really strong scene with Periwinkles. Like for me, it's imagining that same kind of pacing as they get closer to each other. But now instead of a loving embrace, it is like this horrible thing. The Crimson call out line was such a great like thing. And especially with the afterwards, like, or whatever color Viscera is, right? Like again, that same like managing those energy levels. Langford had a bunch of great moments. And one of the ones between you and Lord Grey was like just going through the room, seeing what it looks like, all that kind of stuff. But the one I loved was during your unseen, just that quick voice shift and voice work that you did for that unseen was really strong, really powerful, and just really, really great. And again, yeah, I've loved the moment we've got to actually see your character unleash and fight, and how you pick that up the energy of that and move it forward. Stars to everyone, including chat, that narrating how we know that neither light or dark touches the underneath was super, super good and created a lot of really great fodder for everything else that happened during that phase, and created some just really great tones. It was just creepy all around. I loved it. I think Chaotic had the one that we picked up from chat about the plants retracting in the light.
That was really good. Yeah,
so,
I love that one.
And then Lord Grey, yeah, I don't run for anyone, like for anything, was such a classic Lord Grey line. The grabbing the knife because you're going to go fight, realizing you don't want to fight once you get there, but then you getting really pissed off. Getting really pissed off. I need a knife. I must, like, really, like, more so, I need to accessorize before I go threaten this person. Vibes was just super strong. I'm going to hit wishes really quick and a little bit hard, though. Like it does, Jason, I mean, you were even reflecting on this on social media the other day. Like the medium of Twitch is really great because we get to have the audience engagement too, but also the live value of it does create it. There's a lot the cinematic beats hit a little bit different when we're in this live thing, because we're seeing the audience come back. They're already super strong in all CFB games that Gauntlet puts out. But the engagement that we're hitting in this one, because of something, is just really, really great, and really, really strong. And I do think that Chad is bringing a lot of that that energy in also too. So I do want to say that, but like, I took custom move this time because I'm really ready for a vessel to come in mid-season also too. Like the tone that's changing. Nox is like growing awareness of like, hey, there are weird things. They're just science, but like the tones it's letting Mike. I'm just very excited to see where that goes and thinking about a custom move for the next upgrade also too. So I'm just really excited about that, and I can't wait to see kind of what having the vessel come in and the energy that brings to everything does. I think like I'm really also looking forward to the next time we really get to see Langfisk and Lord Grey back together again, because we didn't see that this time, and it like that's like the only missing energy piece for this session that I was like, oh man, like I love those moments. Those are some of the best beats, and we like didn't get one this time around. So that's my wish also.
1 star before I forget. Star for the conversation between the Lurker and Nox. I loved that. All that discussion
fun.
about life and death and all that stuff was really enjoyable. So yeah.
I want to give a star to Vyn for handling the end with grace and poignancy and restraint. It's so easy as the American, as somebody who has played the American, to just dive in, and like especially with that shifting and everything like that. I can't wait to see what happens from that. Started Jason, really creepy voice work, some Foley work as well. Excellent mouth clicks as somebody that prides themselves on their own mouth clicks, but mine are a little bit more Last of Us style. But like it was very it like you got it. You were locked in. Tony, the Nox has such like a you're bringing such like a like anarchists, a young anarchist doctor's notebook kind of vibe to Nox, and like the speech, yes, the cuckoo bird and the cuckold thing, but also saying like I have been within establishments, I have been within academia. This is why I do not go by doctor, because I've already experienced that and seen the problems with it. I am not interested in that. And it's such like I love within fiction and media where the big bad or whatever is giving you this offer, this thing that they think you want. And it's like, oh, you've got me all wrong though. Like it's a very like it's excellent character fulfillment and growth, and you're playing it very well. Mox is such a very interesting character. Your unseen was very creepy. I liked it. It was very good though. It had like little signs of like creepy on the edges, but like man, just fighting over whiskey. It was such a like a really good. It really kind of set everything for us and like really kind of helped me out with my unseen, because I was like, what is this old lady digging for? And then also started the chat, also chaotic for bringing up those little retracting plants. I was like, oh, okay, cool, I can add that on top of it too. Stars for everybody really, because everything's moving in and out, and like we play so well off of each other and everything like that. It reminds me of some of my favorite sports animes where they're team based, where they have like Slam Dunk or Blue Lock or Haikyuu or something. Then they have to work off of each other. You have all these stars that are individually good athletes, but we have to work off of each other. So yeah, my wish. I cannot wait for interactions between the vessel and the factotum. I can't wait to see how that goes. I can't wait for like more Lord Bastion Grey. I also cannot wait for more. I have some ideas for Langfist Nox and everything like that in my brain of like, because I just have some things where it's like these are little gifts and these are things that I want to experience in character. I'm just so excited. I love this game. I love this system so much. So I'm just happy as a clam and some mud.
Awesome. Also,
all right, I'm just gonna go.
Oh, go ahead.
Good.
I was going to say, you don't give somebody a partially complete like coffee set made out of silver if you don't want them to eventually hurl it at a bad guy. Sorry,
as
Ben,
the saying goes. I just want to go across the screen. First of all, thank you guys for allowing me to be an absolute fool at this table. I love this group so much. And I said I wasn't going to be emotional last week, and here I am emotional. Um, the thanks for Gray for being a bitch and abandoning me. I wouldn't have it any other way. I wish I could portray the betrayal in my eyes, but I was kind of like functioning. Uh, just fantastic. Wouldn't expect any less. I could not wait. Tim and Gray, I fingers crossed. They're gonna be little weirdos, and I'm so excited for that. Jason, thanks for being my little click buddy. That was fun. Oh, that scene with Periwinkle though, it's just gonna that is seared into my brain forever. Um, Book talk could never. That was just fantastic. Um, Everybody gives the same compliment, but like, yeah, everything just flowed and weaved so well. It did give mid-season finale, and I'm so glad that we had this long night phase. Uh, Tony Knox, what a card, what a guy. Being besties with the lurker, I don't know. It was fantastic. I loved it so much. Especially, of course, everybody's going to say the speech. Again, echoing a West, like the doctor moment was very good. And I was kind of like, uh-oh, because Tim is going to call everybody in respects, Dr. Spectum or nothing.
That's great.
So also that's going to be my wish. Oh my goodness. The vessel and the mother. Worlds will collide. Who will survive? I have no idea. Wes, way to be cinematic tonight. Like you aren't already, but like the vampire-ness was so good. The sequence was great. Great Metal Gear reference. I don't know what else to say because you're always fantastic. Everybody is so fantastic, and I cannot wait to just next week. I apologize in advance.
The between with a vessel is very different from the between without a vessel, so that will be fun, I think.
Love it. Is that everything? We do have some great.
Good. Yeah,
we do have some great things from chat. Retrofitter said,
yeah.
Periwinkle is awesome. Mother was pushed to clarify their purpose. The factotum is visceral angle. The undeniable is visceral butt of our buttle. A different kind of visceral. The American, they made it hurt. Also, I do love, and I want to call it out because I think it came up during the break. People loving the idea that the flip book of the monster was something that the Vessel's character had sketched at some point in time, and that they were already potentially on the case.
Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah,
it was one of the items they somebody threw back later on, but it's a fun whatever.
Well, actually,
wanted to highlight it.
It works in the sense that, like, I mean, because they found that out in the field, it would be interesting if that was the case, like the vessel, like, kind of was already on the case. Like, I think that makes a lot of sense. But also, I think, like, per the game, the hunters are always there. Like, this is just the first time we're meeting the vessel.
Right.
Like, the vessel has just decided to come back from holiday or whatever. And now they're back at Hargrave House. What did I miss? Yeah. Like, so yeah, we'll see.
It's a gothic frat house, right? Wes? 100%. Awesome. Well, we will be back next Thursday night. If you feel free, give us a follow over on YouTube. You can check all the videos there. I also do want to sit down with some of y'all now that we're have at least one character who has set off and do a little bit of some side interviews with folks. Now that Rick is no longer a character, talking to Vyn a little bit more about what went into that, their play in the first part, other things like that would be fun. So look for some additional kind of the between side content, because we can't go too much into characters. We won't be highlighting anything that's current, but talking to Wes about the process for how they're doing their masks, talking to Jason about some of the choices we made. Look for some of those things as kind of short little additional bits that we're going to start adding happening in the back half of our pieces. I think it'll help flesh out the play. And it's a really great thing that we can add to kind of keep unpacking some of what's happening here on stream in some fun ways. So if there's things you'd like to see in that, if you have questions or things like that, let us know over on the Gauntlets Discord, in the stream channel, or over on the Plus One Discord. If you want to support the work that the Gauntlet's doing, what's the best place to go for that, Jason?
If you want to support us on Patreon, it's patreon.com/gauntlet. If you want to just buy our books, you can go to our website at brendawoodbay.com or gauntlet-rpg.com.
Awesome. If you want to support Plus One, you go to plus1exp.com. Check out Zine Club. This month's zines, apparently when I went to go upload the digitals, I was still heavily medicated from my back and did it wrong. So I got to go redo it again later tonight or tomorrow morning. But we've got Candleberry Jam, which is a system agnostic adventure, and Butt and Head, which is a 2 to 3 player RPG where one of you is the head of a centaur and one of you is the body, and you go on adventures together. It's a partnership with Dino Berry Press that's coming out. The physicals just came in, but the digitals will go out probably tomorrow morning because I'm pretty tired right now. Along with the Wassailing, the last little bits of info I needed to get in, I got in yesterday. I just need to pop those emails out to everybody. So if you backed that, go check that out. Real quick, Vyn, if people want to find you, what's the best place to do it?
Oh my gosh, that'll be Vyn Vox VA on Twitter, TikTok, and if you want to see me be like professional, because I'm a professional voice actor, isn't that crazy? Vynvox.com with my demo reels, resume, and studio specs.
Awesome. Beanar, same question.
You can find me at Sassy Lich pretty much everywhere. I've stolen it on almost all the websites, regardless of whether I'm active or not. And like Vyn, I'm also a voice actor. You can see us be professional on the internet. You can find me there at bnar.com. I didn't think sassylich.com would work.
Importantly, not sassylick.com.
Yeah, it's so important. That one, Google at your own risk.
Yeah. Dimilick is a great place to find. No, and Wes, where can folks find you?
I'm changing the name of the Gauntlet to Demilick, just so you all know. Demilick Press is what we're going to be called from now on.
I'm back in focus. Hi, my name is Wes Franks. My pronouns are they, he. You can find me on the internet at Comfort Carrion on Twitter and Carrying Comfort on Blue Sky and all that good stuff. If you want to check out the actual plays that I've made or been a part of, you can, and like my other work, all my credits, stuff that I'm working on, everything like that, you can head to carrion-comfort.com. That's essentially my portfolio. That just shows all of my design work, things like that. If you want me to design a logo or overlays or something like that for you, I haven't designed some of those in like a handful of months and everything like that. So we can talk about packages, rates, all that good stuff. Writing, I am currently working on Unsinkable, doing some editing back into the edit mines for that, but also a game designer's work is never done. So hop on over to the Gauntlet Discord, and there's a whole section called CFB Games, and you'll see there's some threads of game ideas that I'm working on. Some of those are getting playtest ready. I'm working on one that's a sci-fi, kind of like The Expanse with Daniel Qualls, who did Ghost of El Paso, called The Verge. I'm working on one called Come On In, which is like True Detective meets Salem's Lot. It's like 90s Louisiana vampires.
Oh, that sounds sick.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
three people, so it's
I'm
two
so excited
detectives
for
and
that
a
one.
keeper.
Fuck.
Yeah, and so I'm going to have that done for playtesting by this summer. So, if you want to check that out and like poke me and be like, hey, finish these ideas and everything like that, let me know and I'll finish those ideas and I can send you a playtest deck and everything like that so you can play it and tell me if it's good or not. I love all that stuff. Also, hit up my itch channel. My itch page. I have a game coming out in October hopefully October, called Vor, which is, if you like Dungeon Meshi and Cannibal Corpse, it's taking cannibalism and OSR dungeon games and wrapping them in together. And then also there's a game you can buy right now called This Old House, where you build a house of cards. All you need is a deck of cards and a D4, and you tell the story of a house and you go through and you build that deck. And it's fun. You can throw some money at me if you want to. That's okay. But if not, then go ahead and check out the Gauntlet Discord, Gauntlet Patreon. Check out Plus One EXP. I am a proud member of Zine Club. So go ahead and throw all that. Just throw all your money at all these independent artists that are out here, like putting some hard blood, sweat, and tears into their work.
Love it. We'll be back next Thursday at 7 p.m. to keep on playing The Between.